They say you got to surrender everything to God. You got to surrender it all. And it comes to a point where can you surrender the spiritual identity? That identity that wants to be maintained, that wants to maintain this level of consciousness, that wants to maintain this image of being somebody that's loving, it's being somebody that's peaceful, it's being somebody that's spiritual. Can you surrender that? Can you let that go? Let that fall away? This can be difficult. That spiritual ego identity that comes in and has it figured out and wants to maintain its bubble, its world. Sometimes that's there being called to give up. Sometimes that's the truth that's required to be stepped into. Sometimes the truth doesn't look peaceful. Sometimes love doesn't sound loving. And in this realm, everybody has a purpose. Everybody has their place. Everybody has their dharmic path to follow. We're not all called to live the same way, to look the same way, to follow the same path, to stay on the same path forever. This was one of the most difficult things for me to give up and step away from. Once I saw the self-imposed limitation that came with it and the false bubble of light that was trying to be maintained through that. It was very, very shocking, very, very painful. I can still go back and tune into these spaces and states and speak from these types of leadings of transmissions, but it's no longer true for me. It's no longer true to come into that. And I had a very blessed opportunity to see multiple others go through this transition, you could say, before I did. And it was so hard to comprehend then, and so hard for me to acknowledge, because I had the guidance to step away from certain things prior to doing it, and I refused. I did not want to. I did not want to, because this was everything that this new identity was built around. It was all figured out. It was all safe. It was all peaceful. It was all loving. But it was realized to no longer all be true. There's lots of teachings that claim that this is the highest truth. This is it. This is it. This is it. A lot of these non-dual teachers out there these days, I mean, that's what it is. This whole you need do nothing. Stop the seeking. And then what? For some, that might be the end of the path. I can't say that it's not. I don't know. Might be the end of the ride for them in this one. For some, they're called to step into more, to continue on. You have to find that within you. I'm not telling you where you fit into that. Make no mistake, I don't claim to know. But I do know you'll have to find that level of self-honesty within yourself. See what you're running from. See what you're keeping at bay, what you're afraid of stepping into. Here there was lots of signs, lots of opportunities that presented, other teachings, other things that, other revelations that started to reveal themselves within me, and confirmation that would come. And I didn't always want to acknowledge it because it didn't fit in within that paradigm. It presented itself as like a new level of the illusion, a new level of distraction. Of a trap, of a trick, a new rabbit hole to go down. But behind this, there was an obvious level of fear that was there. Maybe not at the time, but they say hindsight's 20/20. So in hindsight, I could see that this was just fear. This was just a natural aversion to acknowledging something that's coming up, to be explored, to be looked at, to be faced. And I met this with tremendous resistance. Tremendous. So much I tried to just throw away every resemblance of awakening, of insight, of connection, guidance, and just go back into the world. We'll go back into the world and we'll just live this life out. I don't want to deal with any of this spiritual stuff. I don't want to be, I don't want none of it. It's all bullshit. This was the other end of the spectrum. That wasn't the way either. By grace, I was given a lot of opportunities. I threw a lot of opportunities away. I delayed, I denied, I ignored. I don't wish my path or my choices upon anybody. I promise you. I promise you. I can look here with a smirk and a smile on my face, but if I'm to recall and see what, my stubbornness, my undisciplined nature, my fear begot me. It's not. No, it's not fun. It was not fun. Do not wish that upon you. You may have to go through that too. I don't know. But what I'm getting at is back to being true to yourself, being true to that inner guidance within, trusting yourself, being willing to step away from all the external validation that seemed safe. If you're called into something entirely different, entirely new, be willing to take that step, to explore, to rediscover that innocence of a child within you. And not forget, God is still there with you. within you, as you. You're not being led anywhere unsafe. That's the lie. That's the lie, that this is going to lead you into more separation, more pain, more fear, when it's just the opposite. This is there to, the avoidance is keeping you small, is keeping the idea that there can be this separation. And we're in an interesting place. Individually, collectively, there's a lot of traps out there. A lot of stuff that can seem like divine guidance, which is, not. Sure, the algorithm can serve, but what's it serving? Is it serving to expand you, to allow you to step into new creative potential and power and discovery and remembering for yourself? Or is it serving the smallness, the limitation, the maintaining of a comfortable reality? You may be guided to talk about things that you don't want to talk about. You may be guided to not talk. You may be guided into simplicity or what seems more complication. Can you trust that? Or are you looking continually for that reflective validation to come back at you and tell yourself that this is it, this is right, this is all I need to, I'm done, it's complete, it's over? You can find that. You can scroll on here and I promise you'll find the reflections back at you if that's where you're at, that this is it, that I've got it all figured out. This is all these teachers and teachings are saying. This is every other little clip and every other little video is just reconfirming that I've had it right, that this is it. But what's within you? What is that saying? Are you ignoring? Or are you there? Is that true? That, make no mistake, one way or the other, that will be called into question. You can run, but you can't hide. The truth will always seek you out. The shadows that masquerade as light and truth will always be called into question when the true light comes up, when the true light shines. They'll dissipate. They'll start to reveal their ugly nature. You don't need to fear this either. I'm not gonna lie, some of this, like this, what I'm talking about, when this type of stuff, when your whole paradigm of reality gets continually called into question, it's not always a fun thing. It's not always something people want to face. I watched my best friend and teacher step away from everything. Step away from a big community. I say big, that's relative. Potentially big. Step away from a promising teaching within a certain paradigm and system. After recognizing that wasn't it, he had to be true to himself. Step away. Then I, watched others justify and claim, project as to why it was something else. Something else happened. To try to justify clinging to that old system. That sense of comfort, that sense of finality, that sense of identity that had been built and constructed within that limited system. If you're trying to maintain within a limited system, it will continually be called into question. You will not find peace there because it's not the truth. It may have aspects of the truth. That's what makes it seem so complete. Make no mistake about it. It may have a whole lot of truth. But then if there's that one little sliver that's out, that's not right, that's being used to maintain some level of a false illusion, it ain't it. Some level of dishonesty, something that can be manipulated and controlled. That's it. Comes back to control. Control. Divinity, truth, God, love cannot be controlled. It does not own a limited finite track. It's one of the telltale signs that it's bullshit. Divinity, God, truth, knows no bounds, cannot be bounded. If your system is trying to keep you bound to it, it ain't it. What's it afraid of? What's it afraid of you leaving? What are you afraid of leaving? Can you leave the all? Can you be complete and recognized as the all, within the all, but still somehow be afraid of falling away from all, stepping out of the all? I think not. I think something else is afraid of that. Something that's finite. Something that's not infinite, that's not eternal. Something that has to be maintained by what's finite to maintain its false level, its false appearance of infinity, of immortality. And if this is making you squirm here, this idea of something that seems to be sinister, seems to be dark, seems to have a nefarious agenda, look at that. Are you scared of that? You've been fueling that, feeding that? Oh no. I did, I had. That was a huge, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Are you still so terrified of the system you're trying to escape it? So terrified of this level of form that you're perpetually trying to ignore it and stay transcended and deny that you're still in it? Still trying to be no one, nothing. This infinite awareness that is still somewhat terrified of having to embody this physical form. Of how evolved you are. What a fucking joke. What a joke, man. But these paradoxes, these obscurities, these things are hidden. These are hidden within this. You know, it's this, don't look here. Oh no, that's too deep and dark. That's too, too heady. You're getting too heady. Like, let's not. That energy's there. You know, that fear is what's, maintaining this smallness. This bubble that you're trying to live within. You are not meant to be confined to any bubble. You are not meant to have to try to escape this reality. You're meant to embody the fullness of all within it. Bottom line, go figure. Well, God, there's a mistake. Like the whole idea that this is a mistake. That you shouldn't be here. You can get out of here. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. You think this body, this presentation, all the other bodies around you are an accident? Oh, it's through choice. Through choice, guided by the intelligence of all. Now, is there a force that's trying to manipulate within that? To obscure that? To destruct that? To enslave that? To control that? Yeah. Been going on for a long, long time, in and outside of time. Why does that scare you so? It's because you're not as evolved and awake as you thought you were. Oh my. Oh my. Heaven forbid. You're still afraid of the dark. Can you acknowledge that? Can you laugh at that? Can you cry about that? Can you be angry about that? Can you acknowledge all that? Can you be honest with yourself about how you feel about that? You'll have to be. Sooner or later. Or you can keep suppressing and repressing it. The choice is yours. Yeah. I'm not really trying to get you to make a choice one way or the other. I don't care. I'm really just talking to myself because these are things I've had to face, that I continue to have to face. Excuse me. I don't want to try to feign any, level of completion and finality here, being above and beyond what still seems to be surfacing and arising within me. The truth hurts, but it will set you free. But that's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to be willing to face this, to be willing to be honest with yourself, to be willing to learn to trust yourself and that inner guidance and whatever you're being guided towards. New teachings, new teachers, new explorations, new information, new rounds, new dimensional presentations. Or just here, what's right in front of you. New work to be done in the 3D. New responsibilities to come back to. Oh my, I got to deal with this world and this shit. In whatever way that's, being true. Or if you're being called to step away from it, are you really stepping away from it? Or are you still on the fence? I've watched people step away from it. I've had that blessing. I make no mistake that that I can pretend or feign that I'm actually willing to step away from it. I've seen people step away from it completely. Step away from family, step away from everything, step away from their old lives. I'm not, looking at that and trying to point that that's the highest level of truth or what you need to do, but there is no in between unless you're being called to that. I can't pretend that I feel like I'm living my calling. Sometimes it still seems like I'm on the fence, like I'm trying to hide, like I'm trying to carry one foot in both worlds and maintain appearances. Oh, can't be too much of this because I still got to deal with this. Now, what are you going to do? Be true to yourself. Follow that truth. It used to be a slogan. Truth above all else. May you be guided there. May you have the courage to continue on, to not stop, to not hide out, to not stay small, to not give in to chaos and confusion as I did. And if you do, to be willing to step out, to walk through. That all fear is illusion. Walk through no matter what. It's a saying I used to say a lot. Still has its place. I don't think it ever won't. So may you continue to explore. May you continue to create, to be willing to align with the truth, with those principles, those values, to share what needs to be shared, to embody what needs to be embodied. To strive towards what needs to be moved towards. To maintain what needs to be maintained and let go of what needs to fall away. I think what needs to be destroyed will be destroyed on its own, will be its own undoing. Support what you're being called to support. If it's outside of the realms of what you used to want support, fine. Okay, so be it. I guess the point of all this is to let you know you might not be all alone. You don't need to be afraid, but you'll have to face all of that within yourself. some things you do seem to have to walk through alone. No one can do for you. You can have others there with you, beside you, if you be so blessed, but you will still take those steps yourself. So take the steps. I'm being called to take some right now, to step into some new teachings and understandings and I say new, I mean, I've explored them for a little while, but to take some steps, some initiatives into that. I have to do that for me, for what seems to be being laid out for me on this path. So embrace whatever it is in front of you, what you're being guided towards. Don't let yourself hold yourself back. Though there seem to be forces out there trying to manipulate and control, it's your choice to give in to those. That is a choice. So don't give in. Don't give up. Keep on keeping on. Be willing to give freely, to love freely. To acknowledge the limitations of judgment while maintaining discernment. But while not being confined by something that would keep you limited, that would keep you small. Because you are not small. You are not limited. You are free. But in this realm, we do seem to have to work for that freedom. Oh no. Oh no, we're done working, done striving. Just be. Maybe that's what you're called to do. All right. Eshe te ai, katea she te ai, ea, natea shatea katea te ane, ashe ate ea. Gonna leave you with that. I love you. May courage be with you. May truth blossom within. May all that serves the truth, freedom, follow you and grow within you. Love you. Peace and love, y'all. I'm out. Happy Labor Day. Bye.